Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders, hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. You guys are rolling on into the room. Beautiful. Let me get the SPY up. We got Trading View ready to roll, ready to rock. But more importantly than the market, more importantly than the SPY, more importantly than the Qs, more importantly than Tesla, we got Albert in the house. We got Bill. Good morning. Christopher's with us. We got Dallas. We got Doug. Fayaz, good morning. Greg K is in the house. Good morning, Greg. We got Jay. Jess is with us. Joe, Joel, John. We got Jose, Justin Williams. I thought you should be in school, Justin, but maybe we got another hour. I don't know. Not sure. We got Kyle. Liz is with us. Good morning. We got Sam, Tanya, Tim, Will. Yes, sir's in the house with us. Good morning. We got all my peeps on YouTube land. We got Richard. Good morning, Ernesto. All the lurkers that are not typing any messages at YouTube land. Good morning to all of you as well. Whew. We got some job report. Jobless claims came in line with expectations. So at least there's some positive news. At least there's some. This is school too. Yeah, that's actually, whew, man, just blew my mind there for a second. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I need a break to digest all that. Hold on. All right. I am back. Back at school, back at the future, back at the lifestyle. Whew, so crazy. All right. Again, jobs numbers was good. Let's I do like where we are opening in a bullish direction. So far, decent gap up. Again, this is the hourly chart, so this is now gapping above 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and almost 13. We'll call it 12.4 hours of live trading sessions. We are slightly, and this is all this, at least this minute. There's still 27 more minutes till this thing opens up. But I believe we should be at least trapping some bears a little bit. That is a lot of hours that we're jumping above. So anybody in the last 12.4 hours, all trapped. Let's do one more thing though. I don't know if we're out of this pullback yet, because it was a big one. And we got some bigger key data. I believe we have some more reports coming out. I'm not sure if it's jobless claims. Something I believe is coming out on Friday, though. And then the bigger news, which is why I could almost care less about Friday. Bigger news, bigger week is next week. So, again, not out of the woods. This is only a small little retest, again, or at least pullback of this little downtrend. This jump up in the market also puts us back into the Jerome Powell candle. So right when that Jerome Powell happy dance came out, saying everything is peachy and good, and the whole different little, I don't know if he's pivoting on financial status, but he definitely pivoted on attitude. Well, I like a good happy Jerome Powell. But we're right back into that candle. So the question is are we retesting? Technically, we did retest here, and now any of the bears that came in during that time frame, they're going to be scrambling probably at open. We still are below that 10 EMA on the daily chart. So the 10 EMA is sitting somewhere right around that 398.34. Otherwise, we're sitting at at least a pullback of this somewhere right about the 0.23% retracement. Obviously, a better time to look for a short, and probably key number is going to be at that 50% retracement, somewhere sitting at 400. So we do have potential room to move at least a little bit higher. Does that mean that we're going to get right back in it and be higher, like new highs before Jerome? I don't think so. I think the bear case is definitely still on the table, but at least we're getting saved a little bit. Now we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll call it about 7 different support levels for VPOC to maybe save us on the way down. And where's the next target? If we open here, we have one more target. The key level I'm going to be watching for is 396.20. If that could break, that should get us up to about 397.68. And then we're going to sit with some decent resistance from 397.68 into probably that 400 zone. 400 is going to be a monster to beat. If we could get up there, great. We'll take some probably some shares off the table, see if that breaks to give us that 681 retrace. And then we'll really see how this market wants to react from there. But at least we're leading on the bullish case for today. I don't even want to go for today. That's a long time. Let's go for the first like 3 minutes. I think we should trap some people. Not Tesla. Yeah, we'll get to the Tesla for sure. Jess says JPC. Jerome Powell candle. Yeah. People are like, I read every trading book ever. I've never seen a JPC candle. Don't worry, nobody has. Qs, very similar. We danced around Death Valley for a little bit yesterday. We did. So it was not even a great close. We did close below the JPC on QQQ. So that candle, we did get a close, a little bit of indecision. This is definitely the candle we're going to want to watch heavily. If this starts to break, there's not a lot of support for us. So going to be watching that daily candle from yesterday on that high wave. Right now, we are building a little bit of support that we're sitting above right now. So this would be my support level. The problem with this is all of this is resistance. All of that's resistance. Technically, we didn't have any retest here. This was kind of retested. We don't have a retest here. So the next level, if we get some crazy bullish, would probably take us at least into this 286.68. So I'll be watching that, but still a lot of pressure. I think people are getting a little tired of the market. Does anyone get that feeling like every time somebody, if I was constantly investing into the market, I'm like, okay, this is the one. When I say get tired, probably the people calling the bottom all the time. This is it. This is the bottom. They put their money in. That was not the bottom. They got me again. Jan is writing a new book. He could be the first one to name the JPC. True. Yeah, I can't wait for the new Newsom book to come out. I don't even know a time frame when that'd be ready. I think he's like mid writing. Would be dope though. Would be dope. Hector hating on Tesla this morning, and I think he's got a good reason to do so. Everything else kind of gapping up a little bit, and then we got Tesla with a little bit of gap down. So they had some news coming out of Shanghai. I believe they cut the work staff time in Shanghai from, I think previously like 11 hours to 9.5 hours. So again, usually a company would be like, oh, cool, that's going to save the company some money. But when you do have a overvalued stock in this type of environment, you're unsure about Tesla. You've also had some other previous Shanghai news. That's looking like maybe it's because there's no demand as opposed to a cost cutting, which regardless would still be probably saving a little bit. Greg says, I'm no quitter. Let's see what I missed before that. That's me keep buying the wrong bottom. Yeah, there was a meme going around. I think it was like, I saw, I don't know, 6 months ago. They're like, it's like, buy the dip. And then the other guy's like, with what? I spent it all buying all the other dips. What am I supposed to use to keep buying more dips? But I mean, overall, obviously the pressure is still major bear trends. Major bear trends. So anything that we're talking is obviously not the the dip. I mean, the fun part, the fun part, at least for day trading wise, is the ranges are so wide that you can definitely make some decent money in the market, but they don't make it easy. They don't make it easy. So we still have that level 169.75, where that's the level we want to make sure we continue to close above. That should be the retest area. So if we do dip down, and I believe pre-market, we're just kind of hanging steady pre-market. Yeah. So we had a little run up with the numbers that came out at 8:30, and now we're starting to pull back a little bit, just dancing around. But regardless, this would be a retest gap. I would love to see it, and because I might take that risk reward to a bullish side. We'll see. But if we could get initial selling into that previous VPOC, which is somewhere sitting at, I forget what I said, somewhere that 169.63 zone, at least that gives us really good risk reward. Doesn't mean it has to hold. The technicals on the chart look pretty horrible, but if we get an initial drop, I think we get some kind of a balance. You still have 1, 2, 3 days in a row that are bearish. Technically, even though that's green, kind of a bearish candle. We did gap down. We just kind of closed right at that retest, which it was a retest gap. So you expect that. So really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is another gap down. So this would be 6 bearish days in a row, getting into some kind of key support. If we start breaking that 169.63, I think all gloves are off, and it's time to look major bear mode on the Tessie, but we're not there yet. We could easily get some kind of a bounce first, and we'll see. We will see. Elon better be tweeting something though, because he's definitely walking a fine line. Jose says, can we look at PayPal? Looks like we could play some calls. All right. Let's take a look at AMD first. We'll get right to PayPal directly after it. So AMD did have a technical retest gap. So it ended green on the session with a green candle. But again, this one, you're still just, any of these VPOCs coming in now, I think we have to come in a little bit lower. I think short this one as high as you could. The next spot to look or tempt right now, at least on a day trade wise, we're still, or 10 EMA, we're smack in the middle of yesterday's range. Not a lot of edge there. To the high side, 71 is going to be resistance. To the low side, $70.10 is going to be support. So again, even in the range of VPOCs, you're smack in the middle. I don't expect too much unless we get some. Yesterday was fun. Didn't we get nuclear war yesterday? That was a fun one. And then it got retracted right away. Jose says calls on PayPal. Question would be, is that Hector missed the nuclear war? That was crazy. I was trading from under my desk because that's what they told you to do in school. In times of nuclear war, everybody, you just hide under your desk at school and you're safe. Some people know what I'm talking about. Is this a day trade, Jose, or are you buying calls for short term holding today, or are you buying it longer term? Longer term, I still think we have a lot of pressure to the downside across the macro scale of things, which I don't think will help. We still have technically one level lower. So unless this was the test and it just didn't quite get there, we still technically have 69.75 would be interesting. Though yesterday was a bullish engulfing candle. So that does look different. The way PayPal closed yesterday does look a lot different. Wave count wise, is this a 1, 2? This would have to be 3, 4. I mean, I would go, that's 5. This should be your ABC. This almost looks like a new 1, 2. Could be 3. Still below on the daily chart, still below that 10 EMA. In a worst case, if you want to try it, I don't know. I don't know if it's ready to go yet. But if you want to try it, you'd have to at least wait for some red candles at open. This is us breaking maybe a little downtrend here. So if this is Even on this basis, though, I'd probably then have to change my wave count, where this is 1, 2. This entire thing was a 3, which would make this, if we do get a little bounce, 4. One more double bottom, higher double low, something like that. One new lower low, maybe, and then could be time. But we're gonna have a little bit of resistance from that 10. And this would technically be at open, some kind of a retest. And I'd be trying to buy it as close as I could, or buy those calls 74.41. And then I'd have to have some kind of stop below at least that bullish engulfing candle. We did have some volume come in, but maybe essentially you're playing this candle if you're buying those calls. Otherwise, I'd be looking for a different setup longer term. But I mean, it's down there in price wise. Maybe at a little bit of support, potentially. I could make a case that you did have this nice looking hammer that was over here. You're coming back, retesting that hammer from where we got that beautiful bounce yesterday, and then we did create that bullish engulfing candle. So I'm not against it, but I wouldn't do it at open. I'd have to wait for a little pullback first. Matt says that's so old school. I don't know. They don't do that no more. Apparently, the desk doesn't save you from nuclear bomb. I trusted the science. I trusted the science on that. But yeah, Jose says day trade. Yep, I agree. I do agree. Day trade wise, that should be fine. I'd still wait for those. I'd be buying it into that VPOC if it's a day trade. All right. You know, there's a guy named Science out there. He's the most trusted guy in the world right now, I think. He was loving it every time it came out. Like, not just trust the science. He's like, I'm science. That's me. He would just go into banks, ask for $1 million. You're like, why do you need it? He's like, don't worry, just trust me. I'm science. You got Amazon. So a little bit of a gap up on Amazon, still inside of this high wave candle. We talked about this candle yesterday, just in terms of risk to reward. Not saying to do this. This is not a recommendation. I'm not recommending anything. All I'm suggesting is on a basis of risk reward. So we covered this in the afternoon room. I said we might get the opportunity. So let's say this thing fades, because usually once you're in an inside, like once you get that little high wave, you usually have some time to set some positions up as it's in decision. I think if this thing comes down to one of those previous VPOCs, so sitting somewhere at 88.50, somewhere in that zone, if you do want to attempt calls to try to get them ready for Jerome Powell in case he comes out for a happy dance, and then you have a stop under here, you're getting about a $2.50 risk reward on Amazon at this point. Right? This would definitely be okay. Stopped out, great. Took a loss, tried it, but just as a R to R type play, risk to reward type play, it might not be a horrible move. So I'm going to be watching Amazon. I'm going to see if I can pick up some calls with that plan in place. If we come down a little bit, sell off at open, something like that would be great. It's very easily, two things could happen. One, I don't even make it survive to Jerome Powell. And then even when Jerome Powell comes out, I mean, it could be an easy wick, and that could happen too. But I think that's a good stop placement under there, and you're very close to it at this point. So the lower it goes, obviously, the better risk reward you get on those trades. And probably will pick up. It depends. If I could pick it up today, I might get calls, because at least they're not gonna. There's gonna still be premium on them, and I prefer kind of shares. But I might take calls if it's today that it happens. If it happens today, tomorrow, maybe calls. If not, I'd probably be looking at shares just so I could avoid the extra cost of the premium. It's a little bit knife catching, yeah, because we don't know, but it's at least at some type of level of maybe support here. We do have that high wave. You do have 1, 2, 3, 4 days of selling, and we don't know what Jerome Powell is going to come out and do or say. Like, he might come out with like sparklers in his hand, and you're like, he's bullish. We might come out with the Crumpus horns on and kill the Santa rally. We have no idea. He doesn't have much to kill. We didn't really have Santa rally yet. We had a good Halloween rally, I guess. Oh, no, Thanksgiving. I skipped an entire month in my own head. That's crazy. All right, we got Delta. Delta is inside day. Not going to get a chance to trade that one. That was a big, massive candle yesterday. Talk about a reversal hammer doji. This would probably be primed for a short. If we can get to like that 50% retrace would be decent. So this would be somewhere, if it gets to like $35, that would be a decent spot to try to do something like that. But, and then you're playing essentially this double top as your stop. So we got up there once, we bull trapped, it came right back down, little inside decision. I would say type a quick 1 in the chat if you guys think that the decision has been made on Delta. That's going to be a tough one to beat. Yeah, Justin says yeah. Hector says yeah. So I mean, we do have some kind of support, but that's not boding well for the bulls on that one. That looks very trappy to me on that 1 wick. Who says meta? Justin says meta. All right, let's do meta real quick. META. We've got it looks a lot like the rest of the market, at least how we looked at the SPY before. We are slightly above that doji. I would be forced to kind of do some kind of fib on this one just to see, because again, there's your reversal, kind of like Delta. There's your decision. Now you have an indecision. Where today's candle closes is going to be very important for sure, as far as how that one looks, because if we close relatively high, if this thing starts screaming, that would be a 3-bar play in terms of not a 3-bar play, but that would be a 3-candle reversal pattern if this thing ends massive bullish today. Question is, are we going to get there? Right now we're sitting slightly, I believe, above that 10 EMA on a daily. We are above 2 VPOCs. This VPOC is not horrible where we're opening, because that does kill out 2 of them. If we do run massively bullish, I mean, we have a 50% somewhere at 118.92, so essentially 119, and about 120, slightly over. And that would actually take us, that would be a very strong close if we close up there, as we'd be back above this candle. Obviously, we've had some bullishness start coming in out of that gap up. This is probably wave 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it would make a little sense. If this candle holds, we do something like that, either come into a double top and then this, or we retrace. I don't know what happens after that, but seeing one more move, it did come down to some kind of key support. Maybe I would probably lean a little bit more bullish on this. Let's just see how many bulls on the hourly we're clearing out. Not bulls, bears. They get so confusing. 115. So even on this, we saw that we were on the SPY about 23% retrace. I would love to see us gap a little bit higher, get into like 116.03, break out of that candle. That would be trapping all of them. Otherwise, we're sort of in some kind of resistance. There was a lot of bull volume. The last one, bull volume, those guys might still be trapped, and there's all your bears. So I would have to wait for a pullback, honestly, on this one, if I was to attempt it long and then give me the best risk to reward, which would be, I don't know if it comes in, but if we get to like 114.50 and then throwing a stop below there, 112.97 would look decent for, I guess it'd be more of a swing trade at that point. But even that, I mean, you're giving yourself about $1, almost $2 risk to reward. Obviously, Meta does have the ability to move relatively decent. We looked at AMD. Let's take a look real quick at Nvidia. Remove some lines. There we go. Flip this to the daily. Obviously, yesterday was a retest gap. We retested. It did end green. It held up. You're bouncing. Today, you're gapping up a little bit more into the 10 EMA. This would probably look a little bit more like a short at open. 10 EMA might be a little tough for us. It does qualify in the fact that it's gapping outside of yesterday's range. But if I was buying and held overnight, I'd probably be selling this at open, come down for the retest. So if you want to go long, and again, the reason would be probably a little tough for the 10 EMA is I think we're going to be on the wrong side of the 3-minute 10 EMA at open. So we'd probably have to wait. My spot to go long on this one would be somewhere around this 161.19. If it gets there, not saying that this is for sure a spot where it reverses, but that's if I was to go long, that's where I'd have to try. I wouldn't take this one long at open into that 10 EMA. And then you do have 163.24 is going to be some type of resistance as well. And we'll see what happens. But either shorted at open for maybe a $1.40 move if it could get there. You might also want to peel off some shares somewhere around 161.53. Again, I can't take that play, but that looks like it would be a decent attempt to fade that one and then maybe switch a little bit later in the day. Apple looks interesting. Again, we're still technically inside yesterday's day range, but we are above where we opened yesterday. We're going to have probably a little resistance at 142.50. The next one's going to come in probably about 143.27. But at least we are trapping. We should be trapping some bulls. We are into the JPC candle. I believe that's the candle. Yep. So we are in the JPC candle, and at least we're trapping some bears. That's a lot. That's still potentially in there making some money. You still have the 10 EMA a lot higher. This might be a good opportunity to go long on Apple, but you do have a little bit of resistance. Yeah, Nvidia so just the Nvidia qualifies based on the fact that it is gapping above yesterday's candle. The only problem is it's probably going to be a retest at open. So, and with this gap up, I'm not going to take it bullish. I can't take it bearish under the 10 EMA because we would be on the bullish side of the extended and non-extended hours for the 10 EMA on the 3-minute. So that's only the 10 EMA is only going to let me go bullish, and I'm not about to do that at open. I don't believe. I feel like I'd have to wait for some kind of a pullback first, and then look for maybe that bullish run. So without the 10 EMA, I would probably say this thing fades at open. Would be my sentiment. Just come in for that retest, especially at this about 50% of this candle. You're at the 10 EMA. This thing probably fades first, and then I don't know. Maybe it just keeps on nosediving down, or this is a spot where we could then look for a 10 EMA somewhere around this 161, whatever it is, 161.15, we'll call it. But somewhere down at that zone, maybe slightly higher than that. Unfortunately, we only got, wow, how'd that happen? We got 44 seconds left until we hear that ding, ding, ding. That's crazy. But unfortunately, for all my friends on YouTube land, this is the time of day where I have to disconnect. Don't worry, you do have the availability to trade with us all day. Just go to reallifetrading.com, click on all access pass. You could trade live. We do have courses throughout the day. We have different programs until about 6 p.m., which is about 2 hours after the market opens. Make sure on the way out, if you have not done so yet, hit that little thumbs up. It just helps my self-esteem more than anything. My therapist says it's good for me. So make sure you guys hit that one, and make sure you subscribe. This way you stay in touch with the latest content. Otherwise,